a very, very exciting moment coming up now. Mackenzie Crook, very good in The Office. Now, people may well have seen him advertising this film. And he does an interesting interview. He was also in Sex Lives of the Potato Men. Which was sort of universally not that popular.
And I'm starting to wonder whether, in fact, Mackenzie Crook is becoming the sort of the mark of the Black Death when it comes to movies. I'm just trying to find his bio for other movies that he's been in, because he was, as you rightly say, in Sex Lives of the Potato Men. But was he in anything else that was of any note whatsoever? He was in The Brothers Grimm, which was Terry Gilliam's worst movie. He was in The Merchant of Venice, which wasn't very good.
Don't spoil it for Three and Out, because we're really not sure which way this is heading.
Okay, and he's in Pirates of the Caribbean, which, as we all know, is just hideous. And so the story is, you must have followed this in the paper, he plays a tube driver and two people fall under his train. And then he's told that if a third person falls under his train within a month, he'll get a bonus payoff. Let's hear a clip.
Paul, what are we going to do with you?
Second in a month? It's becoming a habit.
It wasn't my fault.
Don't say that.
He was dead before I hit him. I tried to stop.
Oh, of course you did. Come on, it's just a bit of bad luck, that's all.
Hey, but the psychological effect is still the same, though, isn't it? It all counts in the big game.
Shh. What big game?
The one nobody talks about.
So why are we talking about it?
Because we care about you, Paulie.
3 is the magic number. The rule, man, the rule.
What rule?
3 and out. You hit 3 people in a month, they pay you off. They retire you, because they reckon that you can't deal with it up top. 3 is the charm. It's 3 and out.
You know how it's possible to look at a poster and know whether you're going to like a film or not, or to watch a trail and know whether you're going to like it or not. Sometimes it's possible to listen to one of the brief clips that you bring us on a Friday afternoon and know what we're going to like or not.
There was, I think, the train, which is the train drivers' union that officially picketed the opening, whichever they were. Anyway, they said, "Oh, it's not funny. There's nothing funny about."
Zaslav.
Is it fine? They said, "There's nothing funny about people falling under trains." You know what? There isn't, and the movie doesn't suggest for 1 minute there is, because there's nothing funny about the film at all. What happens, however, is after the first 10 minutes of it just being a very badly made, it's the kind of standard issue, grim British comedy, ugly, scenery, badly written, badly put together, a scene in which somebody has to go to the toilet, a scene in which somebody has to find something in, poop, scene in which somebody jumps out of a window without their trousers on, there's bad sex, the usual stuff, okay, just the usual kind of line of offences that make British comedy just about as much fun as having a root canal done. But then he has to find somebody else to fall under the train, so he finds Colin Meaney, who's this kind of blarney-filled Irish guy, and he says, "Look, if you'll fall under my train on Monday, I'll give you some money in advance." So then he says, "Okay, well, we can go and meet my family, because I can kind of make up with them." And then the whole film goes off into this kind of mawkishly sentimental thing in which he goes to meet his estranged wife, who's played by Imelda Staunton. And Imelda Staunton basically isn't having any of this. The minute Imelda Staunton walks on screen, it's just like, I don't care what film you're making. I'm Vera Drake, and I'm not messing with it. And Imelda Staunton does the Imelda Staunton performance, and we then go through this absolutely just toe-pullingly terrible, mawkish, sentimental thing about this bloke and his wife, and then the Mackenzie Crook character, and he's going to get off at the bloke's door, and then they're all going to find their life reaffirmed, and then at some point somebody's going to fall over in cow poo, and there's going to be more running around with their trousers on, and then we know at the end they're going to have to go back to all that stuff back down in London. And you're sitting there and you're watching, you think it's bad. It's just bad. I mean, it's just grim bad. But it's not Sex Lives of the Potato Men bad. It's just grim bad. And then you start thinking, actually, the mawkish sentimentality is worse than the really clumsy, badly executed humour, because the mawkish sentimentality is so vomit-inducingly poor that actually I'd almost rather be back with the really terrible ketchup on the lines gags that we had at the beginning of the movie. And the people who are picketing for all the wrong reasons. I mean, they're saying that we shouldn't be making fun of this stuff, and it's no fun. I mean, it's not. It's just really, really badly, grimly done. And then we get to as it sort of starts to sort of channel towards the ending, and I'm getting kind of mild cramps, but nothing really bad. Just sort of pains in my legs, and just feeling generally like my flesh was putrefying and rotting.
But apart from that,
the general meltdown that you get in those kind of British comedies, in which you think, obviously jail sentences for all involved, why is it being released at all? Where have they found quotes for the poster? I mean, amazingly, quotes for the poster written in tiny little things that you can't see.
From tiny little free newspapers,
no,
by and large.
I loved it, Smeechley from Ding, and somebody else saying, it's actually not as bad as I thought it might have been, Diddly Bongy from the Diddlebomby, and then and then we get to the end. Attempts to be is it valedictory, and it ends with
not Lacanian.
It isn't. It ends with "You Got a Friend." Now, I say this.
You got a friend, Carole King or James Taylor?
No, "You Got a Friend" apparently being done by somebody like Boyzone or somebody horrible. It's, but it's all rocky,
Something to stay in for then.
And there's, I think what you're meant to do is you're meant to leave on a wave of goodwill. Hey, we went in. It's a comedy about death, but we come out feeling life affirmed. And it was that kind of swimming out in the tidal wave of spew. That as people were coming out of the screening, I know people were staggering out of the screening, and I mean literally, not being funny, not metaphorically staggering like somebody had just hit them, going, is the situation really this bad? Are we really now at the point that this is what passes for, a feisty, sparky little British comedy? I mean, it's just so clearly that what you need to do is take all the negatives and bury them in a hole and prevent anybody from being involved in it ever from getting anywhere near your cinema again, and take everybody whose name is on the poster and put them in a pen and, take the
Should everyone involved be thoroughly ashamed of themselves?
Well, thoroughly ashamed doesn't really cover it. But the one thing I would say about it is this. I think Mackenzie Crook's got a big problem getting over a movie as bad, but it isn't as bad as Sex Lives of the Potato Men, in as much as, although it's just awful, I mean, it is just awful, that's all it is.
Oh, right.
It's just
So is he on the up
awful.
Then?
Well, I think he is, in that he's gone.
Up being a relative.
Apparently he was brilliant in The Office, so it's his fault. It's just awful, but it is just awful.
Just awful then.
But just awful, with the emphasis on the just as opposed to the just awful.
So should he actually be feeling quite encouraged then, Mackenzie, if he's listening, based on what you said about Sex Lives of the Potato Man?
That's right. He's gone to just awful.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, cleared that up.